An introduction to the global warming era. I have my notes right here, and I think that the title that I put over originally is a little bit pretentious. This is just notes on the environmental challenge that the construction industry faces today. So take it as those, and don't take it as a full lecture or as a given scientific paper, will you please? Okay, by the way, my name is Tomasuri, and I'm your instructor. And here's what it is. We've always thought that Earth had unlimited resources, meaning that when I grew up, my dad used to tell me there's tons of fishes in the ocean, and there's plenty of air, and we have great amount of energy, and we can just use our cars forever and ever and ever. But the matter of the fact is that a little bit after that, some years ago, I went to college and university, and one of my professors told me the following. Take a look at this. This is Earth. And imagine then on Earth you have like 3/4 of it is water, and just 1/4 of it is land. And so that's 3/4 that we can't do too much with it because, well, it's water. Salt water, and the other 1/4 is land. But what happens with this land? This land, not all is usable. You have to take away at least, there's desert lands, there's mountains, there's chains, there's all sorts of, land that is not useful. So we come to have just a bit of land that we can use to inhabit, to cultivate crops and so forth. So this means that we have a given amount of land available. Therefore, land and resources are finite. They are not never-ending stories. This takes us to the fact that the Earth resources are limited. And if they're limited, well, we have to start managing wisely, because otherwise, what are we going to do with it? So part of this issue is this one. We have been going on changing without using land and using resources without any regard whatsoever for the environment, and the environment is passing its bill. Now, what does it mean? Well, we all know about the fact of global warming. Global warming is a product of the greenhouse effect that I'm not going to come right here to give you an exhibit. You will find right there in the written part, you will find a couple of texts right there that deals with the matter and that describes the greenhouse effects. The only thing that I want to mention is that this greenhouse effect is mainly caused because of the emissions of CO2 into the atmosphere. CO2, remember that. Now, where does the CO2 mainly? There's a bunch of other products that go into the atmosphere, cause the greenhouse effect over here. It goes back. So, well, we start paying the consequences of having the Earth going a little bit warmer. Now, a couple of things. I want you to check over here when you look at the place. There is this organization that's on a website. It's called the 350 org. And what they say is, let's keep the level under 350 particles of CO2 per million. And right now we are at 387. So that means we still have to start working in our lifestyle, in our way of doing things, to decrease that quota. Now we're not going to leave that to the other rest of the world. We have to be involved on it, because that's one of the things that has been happening. We have just ignored the whole issue, kept our lifestyle, we live in a great environment, we have all we want, but the matter of the fact is that we're starting to pay the consequences for it, and a change must be done. We cannot afford to have this, because again, the curve, and you will see it over there, the CO2 emissions is growing. Now, what does it have to do with me? Well, if you're in the construction business if you're going to be an architect, if you're going to be a designer, if you're going to have to do anything with the putting together projects for living, well, you're going to have to start working with it, and you're going to have to be leading the way for many others to open their eyes and understand. So if we look at the let's say the participation of the construction industry at a world's level, it's huge. It's immense. Now, countries do this because it's a cheap way. You don't have to use very highly qualified labor to put everybody to build bridges or pick up stones and put it from one place to the other. So sometimes countries go ahead and start putting together a big construction industry because they don't need universities. But in doing so, in the use of materials, in the use of technologies, a high emission of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide is emitted to the atmosphere. Now that goes against us. And then what we need, for example, it says right here, 1 ton of concrete uses 1 ton of carbon to be produced. So every time we use cement is one of those industries that pollute the air, like the cars and many others. So let's give it a thought. And what we need to do is we need to empower our imagination. We need to start thinking, how can I go into the industry, make money, be productive, but also put our quota in for saving the planet and for making this business, the green business, profitable. That is the challenge. Now, we have to look at what other countries have done. I mean, we've done our share. We're doing great. This green thing is kind of a booming, and you find everything's green now. Everything. Every big shop that wants to sell anything, just put a green tag on front of it, and you'll buy it. But the matter of fact is, not everything is green, and we can't just eat everything that is given to us. We have to start selecting our own fights, and one of them is to start putting together a project that start becoming sustainable. Sustainability. What is that? Well, I'll tell you in the next little movie, because I have to cut this in small pieces. So you're gonna have to bear with me like for 3 or 4 minutes of this while you want to read it and while you do your assignment. So go ahead and get that part. Get that assignment done. I'll just post it right there on the web for you, and do your little research on it, on global warming, and then we'll go to the second part.